Victor, infamously known as Bomber, was a name that sent shivers down the spines of many students at Alvan College of Education and Imo State University. His notoriety was deeply rooted in his involvement with the Supreme Vikings confraternity, a group feared for its ruthless tactics and unyielding grip on the institutions. Bomber's academic pursuits were overshadowed by his confraternity activities, which seemed to take precedence over his studies. He was a student at Alvan College of Education, but he chose to reside at the Imo State University front gate, in a hostel nestled within the bustling student market. This strategic location allowed him to maintain a strong presence in both institutions, where his reputation as a fearless and formidable Viking confraternity member continued to grow. Rumors of Bomber's involvement in several armed robbery cases at both Alvan and Imo State University had become the stuff of legend, striking fear into the hearts of students and faculty alike. His brazen disregard for the law and his unapologetic affiliation with the confraternity only added to his notorious reputation. Bomber's confrontations with members of the Black Axe confraternity, a rival group, were the stuff of legend. These altercations often resulted in violent clashes, with Bomber always emerging as a formidable force to be reckoned with. His fearlessness and unwavering commitment to the Viking confraternity had earned him a reputation as one of the most notorious confraternity members in the region. Despite his sporadic attendance at school, Bomber's presence was always felt when he did attend classes. His reputation preceded him, and students would often whisper among themselves as he walked by, his confident stride and unmistakable air of authority commanding attention. Both at Alvan and Imo State University, Bomber was a well-known face, and his legend continued to grow with each passing day. As the years went by, Bomber's name became synonymous with fear and intimidation, his exploits as a Viking confraternity member cementing his place in the annals of the institution's history. His story served as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of getting entangled in the web of confraternity politics and violence. Yet, for many, Bomber's notorious reputation only added to his allure, making him a fascinating figure, whose legend would continue to captivate and intrigue for years to come. Bomber's reputation as a notorious figure extended far beyond the confines of Alvan College of Education, as he had also made a name for himself at Imo State University. His residence at the front gate of the university, coupled with his alleged involvement in several robberies within the same area, had earned him a formidable reputation among the student population. In addition to his academic pursuits, Bomber had also established himself as a phone repairer, with his shop conveniently located opposite his hostel at the Imo State University front gate. This strategic location allowed him to maintain a visible presence in the area, which he often leveraged to intimidate students who lived within the front gate. Bomber's involvement with the Viking confraternity was no secret, and he often used this affiliation to bully and extort students who crossed his path. He and his fellow Viking members had developed a reputation for preying on newly admitted students who lived at the Imo State University front gate, relieving them of their cash and other valuables through coercion and intimidation. One particularly disturbing incident that highlighted Bomber's ruthlessness involved a newly admitted student who had unknowingly wandered into the wrong territory. The Imo State University front gate was divided into two sections, with the Vikings dominating one area and the Black Axe confraternity controlling the other. Although the two sections were in close proximity to each other, they were fiercely divided along confraternity lines. The newly admitted student, unaware of these territorial divisions, had made the mistake of walking from the Black Axe-dominated area into the Viking-controlled territory. Bomber and his fellow Vikings had immediately taken notice of the student's presence, summoning him to appear before them. When the student refused to respond, Bomber and his cohorts suspected him of being a spy for the Black Axe and promptly pounced on him. The student was subjected to a barrage of slaps and interrogated about his identity and affiliations. Fortunately, upon discovering that the student had no connections to the Black Axe, Bomber and his fellow Vikings released him, albeit with a stern warning. This incident served as a stark reminder of the dangers of navigating the complex and treacherous world of confraternity politics at Imo State University. Bomber's actions, though disturbing, were not entirely surprising, given his reputation as a ruthless and cunning Viking confraternity member. His willingness to use violence and intimidation to assert his dominance over others had earned him a fearsome reputation, one that was whispered about in hushed tones by students throughout the university. As Bomber continued to wield his influence over the Imo State University front gate, students lived in constant fear of crossing his path, lest they incur his wrath. Bomber's numerous exploits, coupled with his brazen involvement in the Viking confraternity, had made him a household name within the institution. His reputation as a fearless and formidable figure had spread far and wide, earning him both admiration and fear from his peers. However, it was this very reputation that would ultimately prove to be his downfall. The exact circumstances surrounding the Black Axe's decision to target Bomber remain shrouded in mystery. There were no known incidents of conflict or animosity between Bomber and the Black Axe that could have precipitated such a drastic action. It seemed that Bomber had been living on borrowed time, and the Black Axe had finally decided to collect it. The hit that ultimately claimed Bomber's life was carried out with ruthless precision by two armed members of the Black Axe. Interestingly, it appeared that the Black Axe members at Imo State University front gate were not in support of the hit, suggesting that the assassins may have been brought in from outside. This theory was further bolstered by the fact that the assassins were not recognized as being part of the Black Axe contingent that normally operated within the university front gate. On the fateful day, the two assassins, posing as customers, made their way to the student market located within the university front gate. They deliberately sought out Bomber's phone repair shop, where he was known to spend most of his time. The assassin's plan was cleverly devised, with one of them pretending to have a faulty phone that required Bomber's expertise. As Bomber emerged from his shop to attend to the would-be customer, the second assassin sneaked up behind him, drew a gun, and fired a fatal shot to the head. Bomber's lifeless body crumpled to the ground, surrounded by a pool of his own blood. The assassins, having accomplished their mission, fled the scene with haste, leaving behind a trail of chaos and devastation. The news of Bomber's brutal murder sent shockwaves throughout the institution, with many students and faculty members struggling to come to terms with the senseless violence that had claimed the life of a young man who, despite his flaws, had been a larger-than-life figure within the university community. As the investigation into Bomber's murder continued, many questions remained unanswered, including the identity of the assassins and the motivations behind the hit. One thing, however, was certain: Bomber's death would have far-reaching consequences, not just for the Viking confraternity, but for the entire university community. The two Axemen responsible for Bomber's murder had seemingly executed their plan to perfection, but in their haste, they had overlooked a crucial aspect of their operation: an exit strategy. Unbelievably, they had not arranged for a getaway vehicle, either a car or a bike, to facilitate their escape after completing their mission. This glaring oversight would ultimately prove to be their undoing. As the Axemen attempted to flee the scene, they made a beeline for the front gate area, which was dominated by their fellow Black Axe members. They had hoped to blend in with the crowd and use the area as a means of escape. However, their plan was quickly foiled as they were allegedly pursued by their own fellow Axemen, who were part of the front gate security personnel. It appeared that these Black Axe members had not been involved in the hit and were, in fact, intent on apprehending the two Axemen responsible for Bomber's murder. The pursuit was intense, with the Axemen desperate to evade capture. In the chaos that ensued, one of the Axemen was captured by SARS operatives while attempting to flee, while the other managed to escape. The Vikings, however, were not about to let the matter rest. They were determined to avenge Bomber's death, and they did so with swift and deadly precision. Rather than retaliating within the school campus, the Vikings chose to take their revenge outside the campus walls. They targeted a Black Axe member who resided in Orji, a location some distance away from the campus. The Vikings arrived at the Axeman's residence, knocked on the door, and as soon as he opened it, they shot him instantly and fled the scene. The motivations behind the Vikings' decision to target this particular Black Axe member remain unclear. It is uncertain whether this individual was directly involved in the planning or execution of the hit on Bomber. What is evident, however, is that the Vikings had carefully planned their retaliation, choosing to strike outside the campus walls. The reasons behind this decision are known only to the Vikings themselves, but it is clear that they were determined to send a strong message to the Black Axe and anyone else who dared to cross them. The cycle of violence had been set in motion, and it remained to be seen how far it would escalate.